Hey guys, this is what I truly think of CLEFABLE, and there's some good, and there's some not so good. Alright guys, I'm finally making a video about CLEFABLE. I wanted to give it about a week or so to see if my feelings and my thoughts changed on the Pokemon. Now before I dive right into it, I just want to say that 47% of the people that watch my videos still aren't subscribed. If you could hit that button, it would mean the absolute world to me. This is my full-time career, so any bit of support is incredibly appreciated. Okay, so CLEFABLE. Now I have some good things to say and some bad things to say. I'm gonna start off with the more negative things because I don't really like to be negative for too long. I'd like to jump into the positive stuff when I can, so let's get this out of the way. Now, I think it's genuinely insulting the fact that they released a Pokemon behind a paywall. Now, this isn't the first, but they released a Pokemon behind a paywall that has a bug. And the bug with this Pokemon is that a lot of other Pokemon's even basic attacks don't work in gravity, and that is not intended. Gravity is meant to stop movement abilities, not just the ones that say the word dash, but movement abilities, and it does that, and it's welcome in the game. The problem is that it also stops Talonflame's basic attack. It stops Charizard's basic attacks, but only if you've used Flamethrower. It stops Charizard's basic attacks in the Unite move as well. It stops Dodrio's basic attacks. It stops a lot of things that you can tell it wasn't intended to stop. Now, a bug on a newly released Pokemon isn't really that new. I mean, we all remember Greedent. The problem is that this Pokemon had a bug that made other Pokemon pretty much unplayable, and it was locked behind a paywall. This is the first time that a Pokemon truly felt like it was pay to win. And that's not the state of the game that I would like to see. Pokémon Unite has always been an incredibly fair game. If you're free to play or if you're pay to play, either way you had the same chance. Nothing really made much of a difference. Now CLEFABLE isn't this overpowered powerhouse, but it does have bugs that stop certain Pokemon from working. You've pretty much got a built-in counter to certain Pokemon by paying for it, and I just don't think that's something we should be inviting into the game. Could we imagine what would have happened if Greedent on release was behind a paywall and the bugs weren't fixed? That's what I'm worried about. That's what gets me so riled up about this Pokemon. It's not the fact that the bug is so crazy or that it's so strong. It's that there was a bug and it wasn't fixed and it was left behind the paywall. And what will this mean for future releases when they do have bugs that are game breaking? Because the Greedent bug lasted for an entire month. Now, it's not all doom and gloom. That's just a thought that I had, and it's something that's really been bugging me, and I wanted to hold off on making this video until I really thought that was how I truly felt, because I didn't want to say something that I didn't mean. I don't like to do that, so I wanted to make sure that after time I still felt the same way, and I do. I don't want to see the game going to a state where there are these bugged or incredibly strong Pokemon that are behind paywalls. I just think that's unhealthy, and I really hope that they hear us when we say that we don't want that. Now, with all that out of the way, let me talk about the actual Pokemon, actually CLEFABLE, its kit, its moves, and what you should be running, and what I truly think of this in a competitive state. Now, I'm going to be incredibly honest. I think CLEFABLE is balanced. If it wasn't for the bugs, this Pokemon would sit in a very balanced and quite niche position where it's really good on a comp, but it's not a must pick, it's not a must have. And it sits where I'd like most Pokemon to sit. If you were going to pick this for your team, it competes with Blissey, and Blissey is so good and does very similar things. But CLEFABLE has really good AoE healing, which is really nice. It has Gravity, which is a good cripple. You would pick that into Pokemon like Extreme Speed Lucario, Scizor, Serena. It has a really, really good place. Though Safeguard counters it, making Blissey even better, so they're still neck and neck for that position, and that's something really, really cool to see. I like when one is not outright better than the other. I like when there is more than one option for a role. We need more diversity. This Pokemon to me is a true support. It's not as tanky as something like Blissey or Wigglytuff. It's squishy. You can actually take it down if you focus it, but it's going to also offer a lot of effective health for your team. It's going to be constantly healing them in an area. It's going to be setting down gravity AoEs, stopping movements. It's a very good Pokemon. The Unite is a little strange. I'm still getting used to it myself. I don't want to get in a position where I lose a really important game because I got Splash and the enemy Clefable got Hyper Beam and they got Rayquaza. No one wants to be there, right? But it's definitely interesting and offers a lot of possibilities. I wish there was a way that could be a little bit less random, but the Pokemon's kit is really good regardless. Now, Draining Kiss definitely got gutted from the test server. It is not what it was in the slightest. It is not even a move really, but Follow Me is still pretty good. That taunt is nice. It's like Q-Charm, which is Wigglytuff's passive, but you can use it when you want to and you can dash with it. It's a really good move. I genuinely think Clefable is a very good Pokemon. It's in a very good and very balanced state, and if you do play support, then yeah, I suggest that you pick this up. It's one of the best supports in the game right now. As long as you're staying close to your team and you're healing them up the best that you can and also keeping yourself safe. I know you're a melee Pokemon, but don't dive in head first. You don't have that much HP. You offer so much value to your team. Gravity is a move, and I want to talk about Gravity just really quickly here. Gravity is something we've needed for a very long time. I come from other MOBAs as well, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with the game Smite. In that game, there are things called cripples, and cripples stop movement abilities. These are really important to have in a game with a lot of movement. There's no reason to pick the character without a dash over the character with a dash, unless there are things in the game that counter dashes. So it's really cool to see them implement something like this into the game, and I'm really happy to see Gravity. I think that without fail, Gravity and Moonlight is the best set, by far. Draining Kiss is a meme, and it's just not worth playing. I'm sure it's fun to do some damage with here and there, but it's just play Mime if you want to do that. And I think there is definitely some play for Follow Me, but Gravity's potential is just so high, and I think this Pokemon's really solid. My real thoughts on this Pokemon are it's balanced, and it's good, and it does its job really, really well, and it does a job that nothing else can do. If we ever see Pick Ban in this game, this is going to be a mon to watch, you mark my words. If an enemy team picks Lucario, Serena, Aegislash, I'm pretty sure Aegislash's basic attacks don't work in Gravity with the bug either, which I'm sure they're going to fix it. I just wish it was before it became free so people weren't paying for a bugged Pokemon. But yeah, Clefable is just, it's really solid. It's a really, really good Pokemon, and I genuinely think that you should try it out and you will enjoy it. And when the bugs are fixed, it's gonna be in a really good spot. The design team has done an excellent job with this Pokemon. The moves feel great. They work incredibly, except for Gravity. Gravity does not work. Everything else works incredibly. Gravity is broken. Please fix Gravity. I don't like Gravity. But once Gravity is fixed, it'll be solid. And yeah, I think it's in a great spot. So honestly, I just needed a week to see it over and see if my feelings changed, and they haven't. From day one, I noticed it. The Pokemon feels really good as a support. It does the job incredibly well. Even in solo queue, you're going to be healing over 100k every game, which you might not think is much. You might not think that's really carrying, but if your teammates are taking damage and you're negating that, you're mitigating that damage, and you're actually giving them their health back, which is a resource they can use, they have pretty much twice the chance to win the game. So it's very valuable. I think that you can do some decent damage with a Pokemon too. I have noticed that the stomps in Gravity do like 700 damage, which is kind of crazy, but it's kind of cool because the enemy team shouldn't really be in there in the first place. Yeah, I think it's a solid mon. I feel like I'm going around in circles here, but honestly, yeah, I feel like it's a solid mon, bugs aside, but the way that it was released, the state of the release of the Pokemon was abysmal, and I don't want to see that ever again. I do not want to see a bugged Pokemon behind a paywall. I think it's outrageous, and I think we deserve better. Let me know if you like these kind of videos where I talk about a Pokemon and I show some gameplay in the background and just give you my ideas on it and talk about how I really feel about it, because maybe you guys feel the same, and I want this to be an open place for dialogue. Leave comments. Let me know what you think. Does the bug bother you, or is it not really much of a concern? Did this Pokemon feel a little more pay to win than some others? Like, let me know your thoughts. I would love to hear from you guys. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and have a wonderful day.